Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Now, this is absolutely insane. Let me give you a little bit of context here, okay? The markets are on fire on a global scale, okay? The S&P 500 is down today 5.97%. The Nasdaq 100 down 6.21%. The Russell 2000 down 4.37%. The Dow Jones down 5.5%, and even gold. That's right, even gold is down 2.1%. Isn't that supposed to be the hedge against tumultuous times? And this is all happening because of the tariff scares, of course. But look at XRP. That son of a bitch is up. Well, I will be goddamn. Look at it. So I shared a post this morning. This is 9:47 a.m. Central, this post that's on your screen here from me. That's Central Time. And I wrote XRP up nearly 7% at $2.10, despite the stock market burning to the ground yesterday and today on tariff fears. It's quite a sight to behold. That is astonishing. The degree to which XRP is showing strength is absolutely insane. Now, it's true the entire broader crypto market, we're seeing green today. And I've read a bunch of theories today on why this is. How is it possible that you're seeing the rest of the world's markets on fires and then crypto is just being treated as if it's a safe haven? And not that that's the new norm. I mean, if it is, then great. There's no pattern of evidence yet to prove that. But so one of the best theories anyway that I've read is that there's really nobody left to sell in the crypto markets. Despite the global fears, we've already had over the last couple months tremendous shakeouts. And so yesterday on the tariff, after the tariff news was, well, as it was starting to be digested, markets on fire. Crypto was down yesterday, but not that bad. XRP dropped down to what, like $1.95, and that was brief, and then it went back up. Bitcoin didn't drop that much. I don't think Bitcoin even dropped below $80,000. And so even yesterday wasn't bad as the rest of the world was on fire. And then today, the rest of the world's on fire further. And then crypto's like, nah, we good. And XRP's up. Pretty astonishing stuff here. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics. But just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, I got to tell you, I've never seen this before. Yes, there's been a ton of days where, the stock market could be up and crypto could be down. And usually when that happens, it's to smaller degrees because it's never going to perfectly line up down to the second, the minute, the day, the week, so on and so forth. But if you zoom out on a chart, it's certainly been the case that crypto and the stock market, given that we're talking about risk on assets here in both asset classes, there's a very clear correlation. And so in particular, every single time there's been a big event like this, especially a capitulation event like this, that's on a global scale, not industry specific, the stock market tanks and crypto tanks at the same damn time. This is the first time that I can think of having, and I've been in crypto over 7 years now, this is the first time I can recall where the stock market's on fire and then crypto just doesn't respond in kind. So again, on a small scale, when there's not big news driving stuff, yeah, you can see crypto up, stock market down, stuff like that. But just on a small scale, you'd expect that. But for a big event like this, I've never seen crypto behave differently. And if there's some instance that maybe I'm just not thinking of, please bring it to my attention. But I haven't seen anyone cite such an event. I don't think it exists. And if there's something before I jumped into crypto outside of my time horizon, somebody bring that to my attention too. I don't think this has ever happened before. So I don't know if it really is just because everybody that was the weak hands, they're actually already out. But I'm not sure I'm convinced of that pitch either. That's just one of the best explanations I've had. Because otherwise, what is it? Is this a paradigm shift and now suddenly crypto actually is being treated differently? And it is the hedge against tumultuous times? I need to see a clear pattern to actually believe that. If that's the case, fantastic. I'd love it. That's been the fake narrative for the whole time crypto's existed. It's just never been true because, crypto, the risk on assets. But if that's where we're going, fine. Either way, XRP has been performing tremendously. At the time I'm recording this video, it is 10:08 p.m. Central Time, Friday, April 4th, 2025. XRP now at $2.12. It hit a 24-hour high of $2.16. Bitcoin at $83,843 with a 24-hour high of $84,756. It's green. It's only up a little over 1%, but look at Live Coin Watch. Look at this sea of green. It's not like most stuff isn't crazy up, but stuff is up. I, this is not what happened during the COVID crash, folks. Everything was on fire, but even XRP dumped. XRP dumped down to 10 cents. And I don't remember exactly where it was before that. It was probably like the low 20-something cent region or something like that. Maybe it was 25 cents. I can't remember. And I was able to buy it as low as 15 cents. That's the lowest I ever bought XRP in my entire life. I caught it on the way down. And that was March of 2020. But now the world's on fire and crypto, including XRP, is like, nope. Isn't that wild? Like, this is insane. This is just insane. Look at this post from Charlie Bilello. He is the chief market strategist at Creative Planning. And he shared this chart. It's the S&P 500 number of large down days. He says the S&P 500 fell 6% today, its biggest one-day decline since March 16th, 2020. While painful, days like today are the primary reason why you earn a higher return from equities than bonds/cash over the long run. This is the price of admission. Okay, now that's obviously true. Makes much more sense to be in the stock market than into bonds or cash, duh. But it also makes, if you want big returns, it makes way more sense to be in crypto rather than the stock market. Now I'm in everything. Okay, I believe that diversity is crucial in investing. It has nothing to do with what my beliefs are about what's most probable. If I went with what's most probable, then I would have put my entire net worth into XRP a long time ago, or at least crypto, and then just got rid of all my stocks. But I think the diversification is important here. And I always will believe that, because the risk if you're wrong, that's too high. Because there's beliefs and conviction, but then you gotta allow for a percentage chance that you could be missing something or something unexpected could happen, and then the risk if that occurs, it could just be too much. But either way, if you want outsized performance, it's clearly crypto. So you do have to endure the volatility. It's just funny because this is a lesson and he's talking about it as it pertains to stocks, and I'm like, yeah, that concept pertains to crypto. It's just more wild with crypto. And by the way, there's a headline here from CNBC indicating the S&P 500 actually down 10% in 2 days. That's nothing in crypto, 10%. For the S&P 500, that's wildly gigantic. There is also a post on social media from President Donald J. Trump. Take a look at this. This is from this morning. This is wild. He wrote, this is on Truth Social. He wrote, "This would be a perfect time for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. He is always late, but he could now change his image, and quickly. Energy prices are down, interest rates are down, inflation is down, even eggs are down 69%, giggity, and jobs are up, all within 2 months. A big win for America. Cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing politics." Was this part of the strategy to try and strong arm them into cutting interest rates? Because I'll tell you this, people, just investors in stocks and crypto, they would view that as a positive, and you can debate on whether or not that is or is not a good thing. The answer is sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But of course, if that were the case, then you're talking about money printer go burr, and more individuals. Talking lower interest rates, more individuals and businesses would take loans. Spur the economy. Of course, then you have the risk of, if you do too much of that, increasing inflation. But if there's more money out there, that money flows into the stuff that we own, folks, stocks and crypto. So we'll see if this becomes part of it. And we'll see. I think part of his strategy, very obviously here, and we'll see how this pans out because it's still too early to know, but part of the strategy from Trump is to have leaders from around the world come to him and negotiate on specific parameters as it pertains to tariffs to get the United States to back off a bit if there can be an agreement can be made. And there seems to be at this point, some news getting out that apparently some of this is coming down. For instance, the UK Prime Minister, I saw a headline before recording that he's seeking a trade deal with the US to remove tariffs. There's something similar with Cambodia. So we'll see how much of this plays out. Of course, on the flip side, we also had China just retaliate, and I think that's a huge part of why the stock market did what it did today. China announced that they're going to be implementing 34% tariff on U.S. products to be implemented on April 10th, and there's a reason that date was selected. It's because all of the tariff news that was announced by Trump the other day, that's to be implemented. It goes live on April 9th. So if something, or so if a deal can be made in the background, then all of this could go away. So it might be the case that markets are feeling all this turbulence and volatility and everybody's spooked, but stuff gets made, so it's a big threat and it's a negotiating tactic. And who knows, a week from now, everybody could be singing a different tune and markets could be rallying. Now, I'm not going to make a prediction either way. I admit I certainly don't know, but that's certainly a possibility. That could be what he's going for here. In which case, if everything's going to rebound, that could be a launching platform for crypto too to go even further. And there are a lot of things that are lined up that indicate like this could be the time if we can just get past this. But I don't think everything's going to stay on fire forever. And history shows us that moments like these they're typically just buying opportunities. Even if this isn't the actual bottom, and fine, things could go off the rails. But if you're playing the odds here, things won't stay on fire forever. That's all I'm saying, right? That's what I believe. There's this post from the blockchain backer from this morning. NASDAQ 100 technology sector says rolled over, likely beyond the peak of big tech. So he thinks that's done, and he's publicly stated that he thinks that's the most likely thing before, which is interesting because there's a belief that Bitcoin would go higher before this cycle's over, and then altcoins would launch, including XRP. So there is still that belief from him, and specifically he was highlighting this about XRP just this morning. And there's some charts. If you're not looking at your screen and you care to look, this would be a good time too, because this is just fascinating. Like, I'm not kidding. What we're seeing right now from XRP is absolutely insane. I don't think there's a moment like this in history. If there is, somebody please bring it to my attention. I'm unaware of it. And so here's what the blockchain backer shared. He says, to see how bizarre XRP's strength is during all of this, here's the past 6 years of the Russell 2000 and XRP. Big moves typically move in lockstep unison. And you can see, like, look at this chart going back 6 years. Look at XRP, because the pink one, of course, is the Russell 2000, small cap stocks. Look at that sucker tank. And we're going to circle back to this chart, actually, at the end of his thread. But check this out. Now let's compare this to the COVID crash. So you got this 5 years ago. He says, here's the COVID crash. Look at how it just moves in lockstep. And of course, like I always say, it's not down to the second, the minute, the day, the week necessarily. But if you zoom out on a chart, that's why I always say just zoom out and you can see this. If you got at least one functioning eyeball, you can see this, right? Very clearly it was. Okay, here's 2022's crash. Look at this. Russell 2000 and XRP specifically. It is moving in tandem. And again, not down to the second, minute, the day, the week, yada, yada, yada. But it is. You zoom out and you can clearly see it. It's undeniable. It absolutely is moving in tandem. Okay, so check this out then. To wrap up this thread, he went back to this chart, going back to several years. And he said, for the first time, it has not followed, at least not yet. If it had, it would be at like 50 cents. Instead, it's above 2021, above $2. Wild. Okay, and so fine, technically there's a danger it could start following. I think that probably would have happened by now, especially if it were going to go down to that degree, but isn't that fascinating? If XRP were following to the degree that the Russell 2000 is moving, XRP would be back down to 50 cents. But it's like, nope, stayed up here, bitch, right above $2, which is a key level. That I find ridiculously fascinating. Isn't that something? Look at this strength here. I don't know how you couldn't be optimistic here. So first of all, I think, let enough time pass. You'll see all this tariff stuff was just noise. It's going to get sorted out one way or another. Markets will get back to a norm, even if it's a new norm. Well, it's going to be a new norm to some degree. It's just a question of to what degree. And then people stop being afraid, and then money flows into the market, and global liquidity will be increasing. There's all sorts of stuff that indicates we're likely to just have the wind at our backs once we go a little bit further into the future. We might not have to wait that long. And so if this really is just a negotiating tactic, and especially if it works, I mean, countries are going to want to straighten this shit out. Like, let's be real. Countries absolutely are going to want to. And so China may be playing hardball publicly. It doesn't mean that they won't negotiate. They just don't want to be looked at as weak. And so they came out and they put a retaliatory threat out there. But again, they put it out it doesn't get implemented tomorrow or the day after that. It doesn't get implemented April 9th when United States a new tariff regime is supposed to get implemented. It's the day after that, April 10th. So doesn't that tell you something that China's hoping to work something out, even though they're coming out looking tough and swinging? I think so. Now, there's a question as to whether or not they're going to be able to actually negotiate something, but I think that there's clearly a desire on both sides there. It just scared the market. It didn't scare me. Like, I just, you shouldn't be scared. Honestly, if you have a long enough time horizon, it just doesn't make sense to be scared here at all. I firmly believe that, and you got to have that attitude when investing in the stock market and crypto, or you won't make it. Have some conviction, understand that this stuff just happens in life, and that the trend is up. It's not like this is all going to fall apart. It's not like the stock market goes to zero and companies cease to exist. It's not like crypto goes to zero and crypto ceases to exist. There's just turbulence here. And there's a lot of geopolitical reasons behind this one in particular, obviously. But times will get better. XRP will persist. It has tons of utility. And I got to tell you, I am just amazed to see this level of strength, specifically from XRP. But yes, also true of the entire crypto asset class. This hasn't happened before. This actually is different, at least so far. So you guys tell me what your theories are as to why. Or who knows, maybe by the time you're watching this, crypto's on fire too. Like, that's always a possibility. I'm not going to technically rule that out. But after seeing what we've seen the last couple days, I mean, because again, even yesterday, yeah, crypto was down, but barely. Barely. And then it popped back up real quick. And then today, scary news from China. And then markets tank, but not crypto and not XRP. Wild stuff, folks. Pretty wild stuff here. Pretty crazy time to be alive, but I'm having a good time. Like, this is endlessly interesting, if nothing else. All right. And I say that even though my net worth is down a lot because of what's happened with the stock market. Like, it just is. But I don't care because I understand, like, markets trend upward and I'm just going to keep holding, and I don't need it right now. It's just, if you don't need to like take profit from your long-term holdings, who cares? Like, it just doesn't matter. And that's a position that you should always aim to put yourself in, that you're not going to need to withdraw from your savings, which for most people it should just be retirement savings anyway. Like, that's what the goal should be. Live without it. All right, anyway, you guys tell me what you think. I'll wrap up here for now, but there's a lot more to be said, including for XRP specifically. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.